I knew I was in trouble the moment the room started shrinking. Not spinning, not blurring, shrinking, like the walls were quietly leaning in, waiting for me to fail. I tightened my grip on the edge of the conference table, forcing my spine straight even as a sharp pulse of pain ripped through my side. It felt like someone had driven a blade between my ribs and twisted it slowly, deliberately. Don't fall. Don't breathe too deep. Don't let them see. I'd been repeating that silent mantra since sunrise, but my body didn't care about mantras, and when my knees buckled in the middle of that boardroom surrounded by executives, lawyers, and men who made decisions worth millions, I knew I was about to lose more than my balance. I was about to be exposed. Before I tell you what happened next, let me ask you something. If you enjoy stories where one moment changes everything, where power, danger, and unexpected protection collide, please hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 10,000 subs and we can't do it without you. Every single person listening matters. And while you're here, drop a comment telling me where in the world you're listening from. I read every single one. Now let me tell you how I went from hiding bruises to being caught by the most dangerous man in the city. The meeting room on the 42nd floor was designed to intimidate. Glass walls, polished steel. A table so long it felt like distance was intentional. This was where power lived. I had no business feeling weak here. Sandra? I blinked, realizing I'd missed my cue. Yes, sorry, I said quickly, forcing my voice steady. As I was saying, the acquisition timeline needs to be adjusted. There are discrepancies in the logistics reports that don't align with the projected cash flow. I clicked to the next slide, praying no one noticed how carefully I was controlling my breathing. Across the table, men in tailored suits watched the screen. Some nodded, some looked bored. None of them noticed the sweat gathering at my temples. None of them saw how my left side burned every time I shifted. None of them saw the bruises hidden beneath silk and professionalism. None of them, except one. At the far end of the table sat Mario Capone. He wasn't officially listed as CEO. He didn't need to be. Mario owned the building, the companies inside it, and the silence that followed him wherever he went. He didn't speak often in meetings. When he did, people listened. Right now, he wasn't speaking. He was watching me. Not the presentation, not the screen. Me. I felt it the way you feel a storm before the rain starts. Pressure, heavy and unavoidable. I shifted my weight. Pain exploded through my ribs. My breath hitched, and that's when everything went wrong. I tried to step back toward my chair. That was the mistake. The floor tilted violently, and the room seemed to lurch forward like it had decided to attack first. Someone said my name. Someone else laughed nervously, and then my legs gave out completely. I remember thinking, this is it. This is how they find out. I never hit the floor. Arms wrapped around me mid-fall, strong, solid, unyielding. The impact never came. Instead, I was pulled against a chest that felt immovable, like running into a wall made of muscle and intent. I've got you. The voice was low, calm, controlled. Mario. The room went silent. I could feel him holding me easily, like I weighed nothing at all. One arm locked around my back, the other braced under my knees as he lifted me fully off the ground. I should have protested. I should have told him to put me down. I couldn't speak. My vision dimmed at the edges, and my body finally surrendered to the exhaustion I'd been fighting for days. Meeting's over, Mario said, not loudly, he didn't have to. Everyone out. Chairs scraped, papers rustled, no one argued. No one even looked at me. They just left. Mario carried me out of the boardroom without breaking stride, down a private hallway, past security who looked straight ahead, into an elevator that only responded to his key. The doors slid shut, the silence pressed in. Breathe, he said quietly. Slow. I tried, it hurt. His jaw tightened. You should have said something, he added, not accusing, observing. I couldn't, I whispered. The elevator opened directly into a private suite above the offices, a space I'd only heard rumors about, dark wood, soft lighting, a city skyline stretching endlessly beyond floor-to-ceiling glass. He carried me to a couch and lowered me carefully, like something fragile. Stay still. He turned, opening a cabinet with practiced familiarity. First aid supplies, medical grade, not improvised. That scared me more than the pain. Mario, I'm fine, I lied automatically. He didn't look at me when he replied. No, you're not. He knelt in front of me, eyes level with mine now, sharp, dark, unreadable. Lift your jacket, he said. I hesitated, his gaze hardened, not angry but immovable. Sandra. My hands shook as I obeyed. The moment the fabric shifted, his expression changed, Not surprise. Recognition. Purple and blue bruises bloomed across my side, finger-shaped and unmistakable. The room felt colder. "Who," Mario said softly, "did this to you?" "It was an accident," I said quickly, too quickly. His eyes flicked back to mine. I swallowed. "Oscar Blake," I admitted. The name hung in the air like smoke. Mario stood slowly. Oscar Blake wasn't just a manager. He was protected, connected, untouchable, or so he thought. Mario pulled out his phone. "Bring Oscar Blake to the South Warehouse," he said into it. Now, a pause. "I don't care where he is." He ended the call and turned back to me. "Doctor's on the way," he said. "You're not leaving this room." I should have argued. I didn't. Because for the first time since the pain started, since the threats, since the fear, I felt safe. And somewhere deep down, I knew this was only the beginning. I didn't know what Mario Capone was going to do to Oscar Blake. I only knew one thing. The moment he caught me when I fell, my life stopped being mine alone. The doctor arrived before my panic could fully settle. He didn't come through the front like a normal visitor. He appeared as if the building had simply produced him. Gray hair, spotless coat, calm eyes, and a black leather bag that looked too heavy to be ordinary. Mario spoke to him in a low voice near the window, just out of my range. I caught fragments. "Ribs, swelling, keep it quiet, no paperwork." No paperwork. That single detail hit me harder than the painkillers the doctor slipped under my tongue. This wasn't the kind of help you requested through an insurance portal. This was the kind of help that happened when rules didn't apply. The doctor examined me without questions, like he'd been trained to treat injuries and ignore stories. He pressed gently along my side and I hissed through my teeth. "2 bruised ribs," he said. "Maybe a hairline fracture. She needs rest. No heavy work. No stress." Mario's mouth tightened at the word stress like it offended him. "She's staying here," he said. It wasn't a suggestion. It wasn't a negotiation. The doctor wrote something on a card and handed it to me. A number. No clinic name. No hospital logo. "If your breathing changes," he said to me, "call immediately." Then he looked at Mario. "And don't let her stand too quickly." Mario nodded once. The doctor left. And suddenly it was just me. The skyline, the quiet luxury of a suite that didn't belong in an office building. And Mario Capone, standing in front of me like the calm before a violent storm. He rolled his sleeves up slowly as if the act itself was a warning. "Tell me what happened," he said. I swallowed. From the beginning." His voice didn't rise, but everything in my body obeyed it anyway. My fingers curled into the couch cushion. "Oscar Blake has been persistent," I started, choosing words carefully, the way women are trained to do when men hold power. At first it was comments, suggestive jokes, little touches he pretended were accidental. Mario's eyes didn't blink. "He runs operations," I continued. "He controls approvals, transfers, promotions. If you want things to move in this company, you go through him or you suffer delays." "And you suffered delays," Mario said. I nodded, shame burning my cheeks. I refused to play along. Suddenly my project started stalling. My reports were misfiled. I'd get blamed for failures that weren't mine. "Then the bruises," he said, voice dangerously quiet. My throat tightened. "Last week I found a discrepancy, a shipment route that didn't match the ledgers. It wasn't just messy bookkeeping, it was deliberate. I flagged it quietly, asked for clarification." Mario's jaw ticked once. "Oscar called me to the parking level," I whispered. "Said he wanted to talk privately. I thought it was about the report." I made myself look at Mario as I said the next part, because if I didn't, I would crawl out of my own skin from the memory. He locked the door behind him. Mario's face didn't change, but something in the air did. He told me I'd been difficult, that women like me needed guidance, that if I wanted to keep my job, I needed to stop acting like I could challenge him. I heard my own voice shake and hated it. When I tried to leave, he grabbed me. He didn't do the worst thing, okay, but he hurt me, enough to remind me he could. My eyes stung. I blinked hard, and then he smiled like it was normal, like it was his right, like he was teaching me a lesson. Mario took one slow step toward me. "I told myself I'd report him," I said quickly, rushing to fill the space, "but I knew the kind of people he's connected to. I knew the report would disappear." "Who is he connected to?" Mario asked. I hesitated. Mario leaned forward slightly, expression sharpening. "Sandra. Oscar's brother-in-law sits on the board of one of your subsidiary holdings," I said. "They're close. Oscar brags about it. He says he's protected." Mario exhaled once, not in frustration, in decision. Protected, he repeated, almost amused. The way he said it made my stomach drop. His phone buzzed. He looked at the screen, then at me. They have him, he said. My heart slammed in my chest. Mario! He didn't move yet. He stared at me like he was weighing something heavier than a beating. What do you want? He asked. I blinked. What? What do you want to happen to him? The question wasn't sentimental, it wasn't a test, it was real. I opened my mouth and nothing came out. Because what did I want? I wanted Oscar to feel fear the way I'd felt it. I wanted him to stop existing in my world. I wanted him to never touch another woman again. And underneath all of it, I wanted to be able to walk into a room without feeling small. I want him gone, I said finally. I want him to never come near me again. I want him to lose every piece of power he used against me. Mario's gaze held mine for a long moment. Then he nodded once. That's the clean version, he said. My stomach turned. He reached into his jacket, pulled out a sleek black key card, and set it on the table beside me. This opens the bedroom door, the bathroom, and the kitchen. Security is outside. No one comes in unless I say so. I stared at the key card. Where are you going? Mario's mouth curved slightly, but it wasn't a smile. To make sure Oscar Blake understands consequences. Fear crawled up my spine. Mario, don't! He stopped, turning back to me. His eyes softened by a fraction. I caught you today, he said. That means something to me. I swallowed. It shouldn't. His gaze sharpened again. Everything means something to me. I just decide what. He walked toward the door. Mario, I whispered, and I hated how small my voice sounded. He paused. I don't want blood on my conscience, I said. His shoulders didn't move. He didn't turn. Then don't put it there, he replied, and then he was gone. The minutes after he left stretched like a wire pulled too tight. I sat in the quiet suite, listening to sounds that weren't there. My mind replayed everything. Oscar's smirk, his grip, the boardroom spinning, Mario's hands catching me like it was the most natural thing in the world. If Mario hurt him, would that make me complicit? If Mario didn't hurt him, would Oscar come back? I walked, slowly, carefully, into the bathroom to splash water on my face. The mirror showed me what I'd been avoiding, not just bruises, fear, a woman who'd been surviving, not living. I pressed my palms against the sink, breathing shallowly because deep breaths still hurt. I thought of the question Mario asked, "What do you want?" The honest answer sat in my chest like a stone. I want to stop being afraid. A soft knock. I froze, then a voice from beyond the door. Miss Cole? It's Elena. I opened the door a crack. A woman stood there in a tailored suit, hair pulled back tight, expression professional but not cold. She held a tablet in one hand and a garment bag in the other. I'm Mario's executive coordinator, she said. He asked me to bring you things, clothing, toiletries, anything you might need. I stared at her, suspicious. He has an executive coordinator? Elena's lips twitched like she was fighting a smile. He has several. He prefers people around him who know how to handle chaos without asking permission. That did not make me feel better. Elena stepped in just enough to set the garment bag on the couch. And he asked me to tell you something, she added. My pulse jumped. What? He said, and I quote, tell her she's safe, tell her not to spiral. I blinked. Elena's eyes softened slightly. He also said, if she refuses to eat, remind her that stubbornness doesn't heal bones. A laugh slipped out of me, surprising both of us. Elena watched me carefully like she was measuring my mental state. Will he kill Oscar? I asked before I could stop myself. Elena didn't flinch. He doesn't kill people over impulse, she said. He kills people over necessity. My stomach dropped. Elena saw it. Today I don't think he wants necessity, she added. I think he wants a message. That was not comforting. Elena left quietly as if her presence had never disturbed the air. I sat down slowly and forced myself to eat what was on the tray. Fruit, soup, bread that tasted too expensive to exist. And all the while my mind kept circling the same question, what kind of man catches a woman when she falls? And then goes hunting? It was late when the door finally opened again. Mario walked in like he'd stepped out of a storm. His tie was gone, his collar loosened, his sleeves still rolled up, and his knuckles... I stood too quickly, pain flashing through my ribs. Mario crossed the room in 3 strides, hands on my shoulders before I could topple. Sit, he said, not harsh, protective. I sank back down, breathing through the ache. Then I saw it again, dark smears across his skin. Not paint, not oil, blood. My mouth went dry. You're hurt, I said. Mario glanced at his knuckles like they were unimportant. It's not mine. The way he said it made my stomach twist. What did you do? I whispered. Mario crouched in front of me, putting himself at eye level. It was a deliberate choice, a powerful man making himself lower. Oscar Blake will never touch you again, he said. My throat tightened. Because he's dead? Mario's gaze sharpened. No, he said, because he understands he's mortal. I stared at him, heart pounding. He begged, Mario added, voice flat like he was describing paperwork, not because he was sorry, because he was afraid. My hands trembled. I clasped them together. And, I forced out. And I let him live, Mario said. Relief hit me so hard I almost cried. Then he continued. But I also took his power. I blinked. How? Mario stood and walked to the bar area, pouring water instead of alcohol. That alone told me he was controlling himself. I called the board contact you mentioned, he said. I asked him a question. He handed me the glass. What question? Mario's eyes held mine. I asked him if he enjoyed surprises. My stomach flipped. He didn't, Mario continued, so I gave him an option. He could cut Oscar loose publicly, terminate him, discredit him, bury him with corporate shame. Or what? I whispered. Mario's expression didn't change, or I could make sure his entire family understood what it feels like to lose control. A chill moved through me. You threatened him, I said. Mario's voice stayed calm. I explained reality, he corrected. Then he stepped closer, close enough that I could feel heat coming off him. Oscar is fired, Mario said, effective immediately. I blinked, stunned. He's also being investigated, Mario added. Not by HR, by my people, for every irregularity you spotted. My mind raced. But the board will do what it's told, Mario said like it was obvious. This company functions because it's allowed to. I stared at him. What about the women My voice broke. Mario's expression hardened. He won't have access to them anymore, he said. And if I find out he did worse than bruises, he won't get a second chance at breathing. The raw certainty in his voice made my lungs freeze. I should have been terrified, but something inside me loosened, like a knot I'd carried for too long. Because for the first time, someone had done something. Not a form, not a "we'll look into it," not a polite dismissal. Action. I swallowed hard. This is extreme. Mario tilted his head slightly. Is it? He asked. I couldn't answer. He stepped closer again. You want to know the truth? He said. My pulse thudded in my ears. I didn't do it because you're an employee, he said. I didn't do it because it looks good. I didn't do it to play hero. His voice dropped lower. I did it because when I caught you today, I realized how long you've been carrying pain alone. My throat tightened, and that made me furious, he finished. He lifted his hand like he was going to touch my face, then stopped himself a fraction of an inch away, as if he didn't trust his own control. You're safe here, he said. It should have been comforting. It was, and it was also terrifying. Because safety from Mario Capone came with ownership written between the lines. I tried to steady my voice. Why me? I asked. You don't even know me. Mario's eyes didn't move. I know enough, he said. I know you don't fold under pressure. I know you don't play games for promotion. I know you were brave enough to flag what you found, even when it threatened people with connections. He leaned down slightly, voice quieter now. And I know you've been trying to keep your dignity while someone tried to steal it. My eyes burned. Mario straightened. You're staying here, he said, until I'm satisfied there's no risk. I have an apartment. It's already being checked, Mario cut in. Your locks, your cameras, your access points. I stared at him. I don't have cameras. Mario's gaze sharpened. Then you will. My breath caught. That's not normal, I whispered. Mario's mouth curved slightly again. Neither is what happened to you. He took a step back like he was forcing distance. And tomorrow, he said, you're coming with me. To where? I asked. Mario's eyes turned cold. To the part of this company where decisions don't get ignored. My stomach sank. HR? Mario's laugh was low and humorless. No, he said. War. That night, I lay awake in the bed that smelled like him. Expensive soap, clean linen, something dark underneath. And I realized the most dangerous part wasn't that Mario Capone had beaten Oscar Blake. The most dangerous part was this. A man like Mario had decided I mattered. And once men like him decide that, they don't undecide. I didn't sleep. I drifted in and out of a restless half-consciousness where my ribs throbbed in dull waves and my mind replayed everything on a loop. Mario's hands catching me, Oscar's smirk dissolving into fear, the word war spoken so calmly it felt unreal. By the time the sky outside the windows shifted from black to steel gray, I gave up on pretending rest would come. I padded quietly into the kitchen, moving carefully, testing my ribs with each breath. The pain was there, but it no longer owned me. Coffee helped. So did the view. From this height, the city looked deceptively peaceful, orderly, like nothing ugly ever happened behind glass walls and locked doors. I was leaning against the counter when I heard footsteps behind me. You're supposed to still be asleep. Mario's voice was low, rough with something that sounded like exhaustion. I turned. He looked different in the morning light. No suit, dark shirt, sleeves rolled up. His hair was slightly disheveled, like he'd run a hand through it too many times. The hard edges were still there, but softened just enough to remind me he was human. I couldn't, I said honestly. He studied my face, eyes lingering a fraction too long on the faint shadows under my eyes. Pain? Manageable. He nodded, accepting that without commentary. Good, he said, because today is going to test you. That got my attention. Test me how? Mario poured himself coffee unhurried. In about an hour, you're going to walk into a room full of people who have ignored you, underestimated you, and benefited from your silence. I swallowed. And you're going to sit beside me. My heart stuttered. Beside you? He finally looked at me directly. Yes. That single word carried weight. Sitting beside Mario Capone wasn't symbolic. It was a statement. That's not subtle, I said. Mario's mouth curved faintly. I don't do subtle when someone has crossed a line. I hesitated. People will talk. They already do. And Oscar? His eyes darkened. Oscar Blake will not be present, he said. His access badge was deactivated at 2:17 a.m. My breath caught. Just like that. I studied him carefully. You planned this. Mario took a slow sip of coffee. I plan everything. The boardroom on the executive level felt different from the one where I'd collapsed. Smaller, darker, more intentional. This room wasn't about presentations, it was about decisions. The table was circular, eliminating hierarchy in theory, though everyone knew where the real power sat. Mario walked in first. The room reacted immediately. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Chairs shifted. People straightened instinctively. Then I walked in behind him. The silence sharpened. I could feel eyes on me, confusion, curiosity, something bordering on alarm. Mario didn't look back to check if I was following. He didn't need to. I took the seat beside him, pulse hammering but posture straight. If I was going to do this, I was going to do it fully. One of the senior directors cleared his throat. Is this meeting starting? Mario folded his hands on the table. It already has, he said. His gaze swept the room once, slowly, like he was cataloging faces. Let's address the situation with Oscar Blake. A ripple of discomfort moved through the room. One man shifted in his seat. We weren't aware there was— You were, Mario interrupted calmly. You chose not to be. That landed like a slap. Mario turned slightly toward me. Sandra Cole identified irregularities in logistics operations that warranted immediate attention, he said. Instead, she was dismissed, delayed, and retaliated against. My name sounded different coming from his mouth. He didn't say employee, he said it like a title. Mario turned back to the table. Oscar Blake is no longer employed here, he continued. He's also no longer protected by any internal alliances. A woman near the far side of the table frowned. With respect, Mario, these decisions usually go through. He looked at her. That was it. Just a look. Her mouth closed. I'm not finished, Mario said evenly. This organization operates on competence and loyalty. Anyone who enables abuse under the guise of influence is neither competent nor loyal. The air felt tight. This is not a discussion, he added. It's a correction. Then he leaned back, finally looking relaxed. And Sandra will be stepping into a new role effective immediately. My heart jumped. Several people spoke at once. What role? This is highly irregular. Was this vetted? Mario raised one hand. The room obeyed. She will be working directly under me, he said, overseeing internal audits and operational integrity. My mind raced. Directly under him? That's— someone started. Final, Mario finished. He turned to me then, voice lowering slightly just for me. Are you comfortable with that? The question surprised me. He could have imposed it. Instead, he waited. Every eye in the room was on me now. I thought of Oscar in the parking garage, of the silence that followed my report, of collapsing alone. I met Mario's gaze. Yes, I said clearly, I am. Something unreadable passed through his eyes. Approval? Relief? The meeting wrapped quickly after that. No one wanted to be the next problem addressed. As people filtered out, I stayed seated, letting the adrenaline ebb. My hands were shaking slightly. Mario noticed. He leaned closer, his voice low enough that only I could hear. You did well, I exhaled. I was terrified. His mouth curved faintly. So was half the room. That made me smile despite myself. When the last person left, Mario stood. Walk with me. We moved through the executive floor together. The atmosphere had changed. Heads turned, whispers followed. I wasn't invisible anymore. That realization felt strange. You didn't have to do all that, I said quietly as we walked. Mario stopped near the windows overlooking the city. Yes, I did. I turned to face him. Why? He studied me for a moment, then answered honestly. Because if I'd handled this quietly, the system would stay the same, and you'd always wonder if your safety was conditional. I swallowed. Is it? His gaze sharpened. No, he said. It's intentional. That word again. Intentional. I shifted slightly, aware of how close we were standing now. You're changing my life, I said. Mario's expression softened. Not much, but enough. You changed it first, he replied. You just didn't know it. Before I could ask what he meant, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then sighed quietly. Complication, he muttered. My stomach dropped. What kind? Oscar Blake has decided to file a formal complaint. I blinked. Against me? Against me, Mario said. And you, alleging misconduct, coercion, and defamation. My chest tightened. He can do that? He can try. I looked at Mario, searching his face for concern. I didn't find any. What happens now? I asked. Mario's eyes held mine, steady and unreadable. Now, he said, you learn what it really means to stand next to me. A pause. And what it costs. The way he said it made my skin prickle. Because beneath the protection, beneath the power, there was something else growing between us. Something neither of us had acknowledged out loud yet. And I had a feeling Oscar Blake wasn't done trying to hurt me. Not yet. I thought surviving the fall was the hardest part. I was wrong. The hardest part was realizing that choosing protection meant stepping into a world where nothing came without consequences. And I was already too far in to turn back. The complaint hit at noon. Not quietly. Not discreetly. Oscar Blake didn't file it through internal channels. He sent it to every place he thought might hurt. External counsel, regulators, a business journalist known for smelling blood in corporate water. By the time Mario's assistant stepped into my new office, my office, glass-walled and unmistakably close to his, my inbox was already vibrating with notifications. I didn't open any of them. I walked straight into Mario's office instead. He was standing by the windows, phone to his ear, posture loose in that way that meant danger had already been calculated. Yes, he said calmly, I'm aware. A pause. No, that won't be necessary. Another pause. I don't bluff. He ended the call and turned to me like he'd been expecting me all along. He went public, I said. Mario nodded once. He panicked. My pulse thudded. He's accusing us of coercion, of retaliation, I swallowed. Of you using your power to protect me. Mario watched my face carefully. And people will believe him, I said. He looks like a disgruntled executive. I look like... I stopped myself. Like what? Mario asked quietly. I hesitated. Like the woman who benefited. The air went still. Mario stepped closer, not looming, not crowding, grounded. Do you feel benefited? He asked. I thought of the bruises fading, of the panic loosening its grip, of walking into rooms without flinching. Yes, I said, but that doesn't mean it won't be twisted. Mario studied me for a long moment. Then you get to choose, he said. My heart skipped. Choose what? How far you want this to go? I stared at him. You mean, I can crush this quietly, he said. I can bury Oscar in procedure and delay until he runs out of oxygen. A pause. Or, he continued, we can face it directly, publicly, on record. My chest tightened. That would expose you. It would, he agreed. And me. Yes, I looked up at him. Why are you giving me the choice? Because this time, he didn't answer immediately. Because this time, when he did speak, it wasn't the voice of a man issuing orders. I won't protect you by taking away your agency, he said. Not after everything. The weight of that settled deep. I thought of the first meeting, of collapsing alone, of being carried out without a voice. Then I thought of the room today, of speaking, of being heard. Do it publicly, I said. Mario's gaze sharpened. Are you sure? No, I admitted, but I'm done hiding. A slow exhale left him. All right, he said, then we do it clean. The hearing wasn't dramatic. That's what surprised me most. No shouting, no courtroom theatrics, just long tables, sharp suits, and people pretending neutrality while calculating survival. Oscar sat across from us, thinner now, his confidence frayed at the edges. When I met his eyes, he looked away. Good. The accusations were read. Mario listened without interruption. When it was my turn, I stood. My ribs no longer hurt. My name is Sandra Cole, I said, voice steady. I was retaliated against for doing my job. I was threatened when I refused to be silent. I did not ask for protection. I survived long enough to receive it. Oscar's lawyer smirked. You're claiming coercion, then? I smiled slightly. No, I said. I'm claiming choice. The room shifted. I described the discrepancies, the delays, the parking garage, the bruises. I did not cry. When Mario spoke, it was brief. I didn't act to protect an employee, he said. I acted to correct a failure, a pause, and I would do it again. Oscar tried one last thing. He leaned forward, eyes darting to me. You think you're special now? You think he won't control you the same way? The question hit hard. The room waited. Mario didn't speak. He didn't need to. I did. He doesn't control me, I said. He respected my no when it mattered. You didn't. Oscar's face drained of color. That was the end. Afterward, the building felt different, lighter. People moved with more care. Conversations shifted tone. Oscar Blake didn't disappear. He was reassigned, stripped, reduced, and everyone knew why. That evening I found Mario on the balcony, city lights burning low beneath us. You didn't have to stay silent, I said, stepping beside him. I wanted to hear you choose, he replied. I leaned on the railing. You let me stand alone. I stood with you, he corrected. I just didn't speak over you. That mattered more than I could explain. The city hummed below. Mario, I said quietly, there's something we need to talk about. He turned to face me fully. The way you protect, I continued. The way you decide. Some people would call it controlling. A shadow passed through his eyes. And what do you call it? I met his gaze. Intentional, I said, but only if it's chosen. Only if I can walk away. He nodded slowly. You can, he said, any time. I studied his face, the danger, the restraint, and if I don't want to, his voice dropped. Then I'll keep choosing you back. Silence stretched between us, heavy and charged. I stepped closer. This doesn't make us safe, I said. No, he agreed. It makes us honest. I reached for his hand. He didn't take control. He let me. Weeks passed. Work changed. So did I. I stopped shrinking, stopped apologizing for clarity, stopped mistaking endurance for strength. And Mario learned restraint, not because he had to, because he wanted to. One night, as the city glowed beneath us, he said something I hadn't expected. I'm not a good man, he said. I leaned into him. I know. I won't always choose the clean path. I know. A pause. But I will always give you the choice, he finished. I smiled softly. That's all I ever wanted. I collapsed in a meeting once. I thought that moment would end me. Instead, it revealed everything. Who noticed, who acted, who respected my voice. Mario didn't save me. He caught me. And then he let me stand on my own. Now I want to hear from you. Did Mario cross a line by acting the way he did? Or was his protection justified? Is there a difference between possessive care and toxic control? Would you have trusted someone like him? Or walked away? And if you've ever been caught at your lowest, by someone who didn't try to own you but chose to stand beside you, tell me about it in the comments. If this story kept you listening, like the video so more people can find it. And subscribe if you want more stories about power, choice, danger, and the moments that change everything. Sometimes falling doesn't break you. Sometimes it shows you who's willing to let you rise. Thanks for listening.